meeting together for August 25th, 2025. With the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Rvbm.
Here.
Trustee Bowden.
Here.
Trustee Hudson.
Here.
Trustee Richards.
Here.
Trustee Sandberg.
Here.
Trustee Sluse.
Here.
Trustee Sturba.
All right, we're going to start this meeting. The Peatone American Legion is making a presentation of appreciation to the police department. Anyone would like to step up?
Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of the American Legion, Post 392, we'd like to present us a plaque to Peatone Police Department for their outstanding support to the American Legion. They've done several things for us. They help us at the Memorial Day service. They help us welcome one of our veterans back from a honor flight. And anything we ask of them, they help us out. We really appreciate for everything they've done. We have a plaque here to present to them. You're welcome, sir.
I'll be first.
Follow the chief.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you, guys.
Can I get a picture?
Found him. What I do, Ken's got to sit in front.
Big guys.
It was like high school baseball pictures. Yesterday in the front row on the knees. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate all you do for us. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much. Here, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm always complaining about something.
All right, do we have any public comments? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda and approve the minutes of the August 11th, 2025 regular village board meeting. We approve the minutes of the August 11th, 2025 executive session and approve the payroll and accounts payable. For the payroll for the week of August 16th of $71,615. Accounts payable for the period ending August 21st, 2025. General fund of $17,794.08. Capital improvement fund for $32,056.43. TIF 1 fund $250. TIF 2 fund $250. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion is loose, second by Hudson.
Trustee Bowden.
Yes.
Trustee Hudson.
Yes.
Trustee Richards.
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg.
Yes.
Trustee Sluse.
Yes.
Move on to staff and committee reports. I'll start with Bob.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
You all got my report, obviously. Conrad Street, the update on that is complete. It turned out
I think, great. I kind of monitored the heavy rain last week, and there was no issues in that area, so that's huge for that area, no flooding. We are waiting on a sod with the cooler weather coming. That'll get installed and that project will be complete. Fall tree planting, I know it's a little early, but good news. You got the same pricing as last year, which is, I think it's awesome. So I put together a list of Parkway trees. We'll send out those letters come fall for people that want one or don't want one. So we'll see what happens there. I-57 signage. I placed a call last week to Schaumburg IDOT. I was transferred a few times, but those signs were put up by the afternoon, which was shockingly amazing, so that's done. MFT East Crawford, you all probably noticed no action out there. There was a lot of undercuts, base repair within that section of roadway, more than we anticipated. So what we try to do is keep the trucks off of it and traffic to kind of harden the road up. Paving, the binder layer will be done tomorrow, and surface layer Wednesday. So that'll be completed this week. I created a RFP for crack seal. Me and Nick actually worked on it. That was sent out last Friday. I did receive one quote already. So we look to get those quotes back to you guys the first meeting in September to get that project completed. So that's all I have.
Very good.
If you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. So everybody got my report, and then with the report, I also, we were awarded the STEP grant, the Safety Award grant again this year, which was, ooh, those are really small numbers. About $36,000 for this year, and I broke it up, and I also included when we're going to do it, a breakdown that's included in your packet of when we're going to do it, and I also put in for an additional thing that we tried for last year. We didn't get it, but I tried again this year. It's a laser radar gun, and I put in for it this year, and they granted it to us. That's about $2,000 extra that we were awarded this year. And then in my report, it talks about that was preparation for the Will County Fair. Well, Will County Fair is over. Wednesday and Saturday are probably going to be close to record-breaking nights. I just by the judging is how many people that I saw there. They were very busy nights. We had no incidents. This was the first year that we set up a command post. We had the Will County command trailer. We put it at the Riverside Medical Center, and we had representatives. We had it running from 4 until 10. A little later on Saturday night, we had representatives from somebody from the fire department, somebody from the police department, somebody from EMA. We had a dispatcher there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we tried to get a representative from the fairgrounds. They were unable, so we had their radio at least. So we were prepared if something did happen at the fairgrounds, that we had everybody in there. Something we've been trying to do, something the fire department's been trying to do for years, something that I've tried since I got here, but we just did it this year. And the fairground, some of the board members came in and liked it, so hopefully we can actually get a representative from them in there next year. So if something does happen, we're prepared for it, because there's a lot of people do come to the fairground. So the mayor did come take a tour of it. So next year, if anybody wants to take a tour, it's very. If you haven't seen it, it's nice. We had camera set up, observing everything. It really zoomed in. You could see what was going on all over the fairgrounds, from all the way from Riverside. You could read people on West Street that. Writing on their hat, so it was a good system, and it was at no cost to the village. So
It's truly amazing.
Super impressive.
Amazing.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice. So if there's no other
Right out of a
questions,
TV show.
yeah.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Troy?
Well, Bob actually covered my report this time, so I don't have anything unless there's questions.
Do you have any questions for Troy? Okay. Gary, AOC, we had a meeting last week.
Yeah, we had a meeting on August 18th, and it was discussion of a new financial management ERP system, which stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. And it was discussed and explained to us that our current program and process is outdated and inefficient. So the thought process is to go to a better system, a cloud-based system, so that we don't lose information and we can be more efficient with the system. Some of the things that were discussed, the points of discussion were improving the efficiency, effectiveness of a unified system, enhancements that will assist our staff, our small staff, with managing current and future processes, workflows, response to demands of the community, improve service to the public and staff through virtual portals, more transparency through professionalized reporting for the village board and the public. If and when we do get an ERP system, it's going to be a process, and it's going to take a period of time, possibly up to 11 months, to actually get it up and running. The one that we discussed in the committee meeting was BS and A, but it sounds like maybe there are some others out there, and so our committee did not, we're not ready to make a recommendation to the village board. The staff will continue to investigate options available, and they intend to bring more formal recommendation back to the board soon for consideration. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, you've covered pretty much everything, I think. So, but just to reiterate, we are looking at another option that's similar priced. We're checking out the functionality versus the two. There are some systems that are very, very expensive, which are well beyond our means, and some that are very cheap, but they don't give us what we need. So we're looking for that sweet spot in between, and we think we have at least two that are kind of in that sweet spot. But we're doing.
We're going to take that back to committee, right?
We'll bring
for
it back to
discussion,
committee,
then-
and we're gonna see if we can have a demonstration, at least by BSNA, for the committee too, so.
Okay.
Possibly both if we can, so.
All right, great.
So,
Before we go into economic development with Pat, I managed to skip over
That's
Nick
all right,
on
that's
the
all right.
staff report, so.
I'm always afraid to steal somebody's thunder, so I actually appreciated that, so I'm not gonna steal Pat's thunder, but Gary covered what I wanted to talk about, the finance ERP system. On code enforcement, I just wanted to give a brief update. We continue to work with BNF and their code enforcement staff. They've been following up on previous things they've cited, and checked out some new things. It seems like we're making good progress. I really feel like some of the issues that have been lingering are being addressed. One of the hot items recently was pools not being secured by a fence or a gate. We had some people, unfortunately, who've had unsecured pools for a long, long time, and I had explained to them, I'm not sure why, but it's in your interest, it's in our interest to secure them, and some of those people went from being a little hot to rectifying it and cleaning it up, and getting fences or gates in place. So we've got a few we're still working with. General property cleanup is always an issue. We have had to issue a couple stop work orders over the past several weeks for people doing work without permits. I know that probably goes on more than we'd like, but we have cited people and are working with them. But I can tell the board, it's almost always, it's not because our staff is delaying projects or getting permits. It's someone submits an application, we send it as quickly as possible off to BNF for review. A lot of times they send it back to the applicant for comments or corrections, and that's where a lot of times it sits, and that's where permits don't get processed because they're waiting for a response from an architect or a contractor. So I have not seen any delay by our staff, so so that's moving along. I did want to mention, I know Bob mentioned about I-57, and Bob, I think, would give him the credit for calling IDOT and staying on him, because he's been on them for a while, and they did get it done. But I do want to give some recognition to our State Senator Pat Joyce and State Representative Jackie Haas. I called their offices too. I don't know if it helped, but they definitely made calls, and Will County DOT too, and whatever it takes, it got done, and we're glad to see it, that sign fixed along 57, so, but sometimes I think it's staff people getting to other staff people who are actually doing the work is what gets it done, so, but, anyway. So also in the packet, I gave, you a building report. We're kind of restarting these, and just as a quick high level, for this fiscal year, since April 1st, we've had 78 permits that were initiated, 65 have been issued and paid for, the others are either in process or on hold. For what it's worth, the estimated value of those improvements, or the cost that are estimated by the applicant, is over 1.8 million of improvements in cost. That's probably low, because sometimes those cost estimates are low, but take it for what it is, 1.8. Just to give you a sample, there's 18 fences, 10 patios, decks, sidewalks, or pathways, 10 roofs, gutters, or siding, 7 driveways, 5 remodel additions, 3 new construction, and a bunch of things like sheds, sewer repairs, solar, pools, skylight covers, and HVAC. So we've got a range of things. It's good to see reinvestment in our community, and that permit process is moving along. I'm going to talk about economic development during the board meeting, so I'm going to stop there and let Pat take over and give his report. So, thank you.
All right, Pat?
Sure. So we had the newly reconstituted Economic Development Committee meet. We did have a presentation from a company called Placer, which we'll talk about. I'll let Nick handle the details since it's a agenda item. And then we kind of started over, and we started talking about, what are the goals of economic development for Peatone? What's it mean? Where do we want to go? Asked for the mayor's input, and he had some good ideas, as far as, building out continuing to build out the downtown, continuing to build out the I-57 interchange, and then also start working on comprehensive planning and, some other things. So it'll take a little while, I think, to get some traction and get some momentum, but, we're back putting the word out to folks that Peatone's interested in growing, and come see us.
Good. There's no old business, so we'll move on to new business. Now we're going to approve a new business registration for the Children's Advocate LLC at 211 2nd Street, Peatone. And I do believe that Renee Jackson is here. Would you like to?
Do I have to stand up, or? I didn't know how it goes, so I wanted to make sure I didn't mess up anything. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Good. Nice to meet you all. Thanks for having me on. I don't know. This is so official. What am I supposed to tell you about it, or?
Tell us a little
Okay,
bit about it.
sounds good. So, Children's Advocate, I think we formed probably, I haven't looked at the license in a while, but I want to say probably 2018. And we were basically going around to I was still working my full-time job. I was a district rep for CPS. And on my first client, we got laid off. I know you always hear about CPS getting laid off. Of course, I got caught up in that layoff, right? But my first client, she and I worked together at the Home Depot in Orland. So I told her her son had autism. So this is how I kind of got started, because I was going to school for a lot of this. And so I said, well, if ever you need services, call me out, And so sure enough, excuse me, I'm losing my voice here. He wind up being my first client. So I'd work CPS during the day, and I'd go out to Wilmington at night. And my husband would call me like, where are you, right? Okay. So anyway, so I had two full-time jobs pretty much. So I just kind of went on from there, and I really enjoy working. I've always worked with children with we call them diverse learners, right? Not special needs or anything, but diverse learners, because we all learn differently, you and me, right? And so it just kind of spiraled from there, and then we kind of, I don't even know how in the heck we got in the behavioral health part of it, but we did. There was a project, I think, that was started by maybe our governor, where he actually allowed us to open up what's called like BHCs, or behavioral health clinics, and service children that have all comorbidities, not just autism, even though that was like my biggest specialty. So I said I was retiring. They told me I could have did it 2 years ago, but I left the district and I kind of just started, working for myself with the children. And oh my God, I was the janitor. I was all job duties as assigned. And then the state got involved and they said, well, hey, you can be a state provider. And I said, sure. They said, but you can no longer go home to home. You have to have a brick and mortar. So that's how we wind up in Matson. So we have 2 suites in Matson. We have really one, but we use a community center, like a little community office downstairs because it's bigger and the kids can run around and do rec therapy, play therapy, ABA therapy, CBT, and all the other therapies. So then my home office was in Olympia Fields, where we did a lot of billing and administrative type things. And so then I was just riding out here one day with my grandson and my daughter-in-law from North Carolina, and she says, look at that nice little building. So that's when we saw the dentist building over there. And I thought, that is so cute, isn't that cute, And so we left, and then maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks later or something, I talked to my broker, and so that's how we found that. So we wanted to expand to Piatone. I can't say their names because they didn't tell me I could, but I actually have someone from Piatone that works with me now. She came to me as an intern. She's an MSW, Master's of Social Work, and she's wonderful. I'm also a graduate level professor at St. Francis University, so I kind of, I was like, yeah, I'm going to help her out. She can never get enough internships and people to help you with that. And then I have a family out here that lives nearby. I actually have 2 of her children in service. She's a divorcee, real nice mom, and it's just my passion. It's just something I've always done. My heart goes out to them. I have my own grandchildren, 2 of them that might possibly have autism, and it's just something that the families that we work with. So we do take children that are at risk. We have some people that have regular jobs and they have Blue Cross Blue Shield and all that. We just service anybody basically. And we also take all ages. So we do behavioral health, ABA therapy, and all the other whatever's needed, all job duties as assigned. So I'm glad you called me. I was kind of excited. I thought, I never got a call from a mayor before. I felt kind of important. But yeah, thank you. But yeah, I wanted to explain that to you, and I can share my website with you. I'm sorry, one of my moms said, Miss Renee, you're so old school. You don't have any literature. I'm like, no, it's all word of mouth. So she made me some stuff on Canva. But I don't have anything with me. I'll make sure that I share it with you guys and let you see it. But yeah. That's how we kind of got out here. I think I told the story. I knew it was meant for me because when I started working, I don't know if you guys remember Zayers, but I started working at Zayers. I was always tall, and I lied and said I was 16 or 15. I can get a work permit. I was only 13. So the minimum wage back then was $3.35. But the dentist who owned that office, I said, Nicole, that's my daughter. Look at this. She's a school teacher and a sign language teacher. I said, look, I took a picture. I think his minimum wage on the back of his door said like 2 something. I said, he's got me beat. I know this place has never been. And you talking about I would really love to meet him because it's just so clean in there. Just so, it's just nice. It's really nice. So, hope this don't offend anybody. I said, this is where God lost his sandals and I want to be out here. This is just a wonderful place out here. So, I wanted to share that with you guys. And then the ice cream shops next door, they don't help. That's not good. I've never been over there without going next door, So thanks for having me. It's nice meeting all of you, and let me know if you got any questions.
All right.
Got any kids, send them our way.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate
Thank you
guys.
very much.
You're welcome. Do I have to have a seat or can I? Am I allowed to go? We don't get off work. No, let me tell you, I woke up at 4 o'clock. My next lady comes back on board at 8 o'clock. So we're like, I have to work like round the clock. So, but if you need me, I'm a phone call away.
Very good.
All right.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you.
meeting
I
you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Motion Sluse, second Richards.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Next up is to approve a proclamation for International Rail Safety Week, September 15th to 21st, 2025. Proclamation reads as, National Rail Safety Week, whereas Rail Safety Week is observed across the United States from September 15th to the 21st, 2025, and whereas in 2024 there were 2,252 rail grade crossing collisions in the United States, resulting in 756 injuries, 263 fatalities, and whereas during the same year 1,464 pedestrian trespassing incidents occurred on the railroad property, leading up to 663 deaths and 819 injuries. And whereas educating the public about rail safety, emphasizing that railroad rights-of-way are private property, raising awareness of the dangers at highway rail grade crossings, encouraging pedestrians and motorists to remain alert and obey traffic laws can significantly reduce preventable injuries and fatalities. And whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police, National Operation Lifesaver, the United States Department of Transportation, along with local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, first responders, and railroad companies are committed to working together to promote the rail safety, education, and enforce relevant laws during Rail Safety Week. Now therefore be it resolved that I proudly support Operation Lifesaver and do hereby proclaim September 15th and 21st, 2025 as Rail Safety Week. We encourage all residents nationwide to recognize the importance of rail safety, education, and to take action to prevent rail-related incidents. Begin a motion.
Motion.
Motion Sluse,
Second.
second Richards.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sanford?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Item F, we need to approve a proclamation for the National Suicide Prevention Action and Action Month of September 2025. The National Suicide Prevention Action Month proclamation reads as, whereas with September being recognized as Suicide Awareness Month, the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation was created to raise visibility of mental health and proactive suicide prevention resources in our community, and whereas the Village of Peatone wants to start the conversation, destigmatize it, and help connect people with the appropriate support services, and whereas according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the AFSP, more than 49,000 people die by suicide annually in the United States. And whereas according to Hope for the Day, HFTD, with an average of 132 suicides completed daily and each directly impacting 100 additional people, including friends, service members, families, social media connections, and neighbors who can safely assume everyone has been impacted by suicide. And whereas the Village of Peatone strongly supports the efforts of our public, private, and nonprofit partners who work in the field of mental health, education, and law enforcement. And whereas the Village of Peatone recognizes the important work that the Will County Health Department Adult Outpatient Mental Health Program does through their satellite offices in Monee, where they provide many services with the goal of preserving and promoting the well-being of Will County residents. And whereas the Will County Health Department also offers a mobile crisis response program which promotes the well-being of children by maintaining them in the least restrictive settings, working with families in their homes, maintaining, normalizing routines and activities, and allowing for further intervention to address growing problems. And whereas the Village of Peatone also recognizes the Samuel R. Myers Foundation for Suicide and Mental Health Awareness in Manteno, whose purpose is to ensure that public sector employees, such as teachers, law enforcement officials, are trained and educated about mental health issues so they are better able to distinguish between bad behavior and mental illness. It is also the Foundation's goal to educate the public sector employees on early recognition of suicidal warning signs. And whereas we encourage all residents to take time to understand mental health through education and recognize that we need to take care of our mental health while we take care of each other. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Chris Vio, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 as National Suicide Prevention and Action Month in the Village of Peatone. Proclaim the day, 25th day of August 2025.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Hudson, second by Sluice.
Trustee
Sluse.
Richards? Yes. Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Need to approve a proclamation for the Constitution Week, September 17th to 23rd of 2025. Constitution Week proclamation of September 17th to 23rd of 2025. Whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which we all commemorate, which will commemorate the occasion. Whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of the proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating the September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. And whereas the Constitution of the United States promotes unity, civic duty, protection of freedoms we enjoy as Americans, and as promoted by the Daughters of American Revolution, who are active in celebrating the Constitution Week each year. And whereas we encourage all residents to take time to study the Constitution, participate in related activities, reflect on the responsibilities that come with American citizenship. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Chris Vio, do hereby proclaim that the week of September 17th to 23rd as Constitution Week in the Village of Peatone. Proclaimed and dated 25th day of the month, 2025.
Motion.
Motion by Sluse,
Second.
second by Sandberg.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
We need to approve a resolution authorizing tuck pointing work on the Village Hall in the amount of $7,500. This will be Resolution 25R-15. Need a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Sandberg, second by Richards.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Approve a resolution authorizing purchase order with Placer Labs Incorporated in the amount of $12,000. This will be Resolution 25-R-16. Need a motion?
Can we
Can we-
have some explanation
Yeah, can we talk
first?
about this a
Go
little bit? What
over
are we
it.
doing?
All right, Nick?
So this was, I mentioned this at the last board meeting, we had a economic development committee meeting on 8/18. This is a tool that will be part of others that we use for planning economic development efforts. It utilizes what's called advanced location analytics to measure movements of consumers to specific locations during specific times. So it's using cell phones, and before people freak out, it's not Big Brother watching over you. It's only used by people who've opted in to sharing their location on apps they use. Placer removes sensitive locations from their panel, they call it, so like schools, daycares, etc. And they only provide aggregated statistical information about physical locations. So it's basically the mass movement of people, and it uses some analytics and formulas, but it allows us to do a number of things, or will allow us to do a number of things. And this is just a sampling, but it'll give us retail analysis and recruitment, so investigate demand and visitation to various businesses, business types. It'll reveal retail leakage, so for example, people who leave Peatone to go to other communities to buy certain products, we'll be able to identify that better and quantify it, so then we can talk to a prospective business and say, hey, we have X number of people who are leaving our town or coming through our town. It helps identify best fit retailers for specific sites. One of the big things that I'm gonna touch on in a second is event analysis, so things like, we just had the Will County Fair. We have a report, it was in the packet, give you some examples of people coming from that and where they're coming from. The car show, Christmas in the Village, or other bigger events that we could use to kind of measure and get some data from. Travel and tourism, it's also very valuable, with 57 being right here in the travel center, seeing where people are coming from and stopping. All that information is useful for marketing, communications, and even grant writing. We can use the data to probably, in some of our grant applications, to show movement of people or actual quantifiable things, because this is a recognized data source. And on top of all that, it would help us support our existing local businesses by giving them some information that they can use in their strategic planning too. So there's a lot of other tools in that. I just don't want to bore you too much with that. I'm going to just give you some of the other important points. One, this funds were budgeted for this in the current budget. We actually were able to negotiate the price down a little bit, so it's, the price as proposed is $12,000 for a 1-year subscription. We had the choice of going multi-year, might have gotten a better price, but we decided committee, I think, that we're gonna try 1 year, assuming you approve it today, and if we like it, we can continue on. If we don't think it's useful, we won't continue on. Subscribing for a 1-year license, we have unlimited licenses for inside the village staff and elected officials if we choose to. So you could all have access to this. We can't transfer it, you can't give your license to somebody else because it is proprietary. I've used this before at a previous municipality, and they have a great support network there. They have somebody called a customer success manager, who is your, like, basically your agent who helps work with you to learn the system, give you tips, and we did a lot of things with that person. They also have information sessions periodically to roll out new products, and videos to assist if you just want to do it on your own. A number of case studies, and I'm going to wrap up here and take questions, but the thing I see it is, we can use it to target potential businesses for the downtown, for Peatone Wilmington Road, Route 50. We can really use it to pinpoint where we can get prospective clients here. And I really like the idea of the marketing strategies and the grant stuff, as I mentioned, because I think if we know people are coming from a certain area to come here, we might want to market more in there. If we think we should be getting more people and we're not, maybe we need to market. And the other thing that I didn't mention was, it also has a function where you can tag a property, so say the fairgrounds, and see what the traffic count is going by. So even though IDOT and Will County DOT does some of that themselves, we can do that ourselves anywhere in the village, just to track traffic counts, because I know for a lot of businesses, they want to know how many people are driving by. So one last thing I just wanted to point out, and it may not have been as easy to read, but we gave you a couple sample reports in the packet. That's why it was so many pieces of paper. But we use the Will County Fair as an example, just because it was timely and it's a big event. There's two of the reports, but there's tons more. But one is a property overview. So it showed during last year's fair how many visits were there, how many unique visits. You can see the trend lines of during the year, I mean, which is obvious during August when the fair's going on, it spikes, but there are other events. They massage this information so you can see demographics of education levels, age, ethnicity, and because they're using census tract data tied to this too, you can see household income. So you get kind of a guesstimate of, or projection of who's your customer. The other thing that I think is interesting is you can see visitors' journey, where they were at before coming to a location and where they kind of were going after. And this is in the aggregate, but I use an example in Manhattan, they had the Irish Fest, which is a big event. You could see where people were before and where they were after, and it made sense that they were either going to restaurants or bars before coming to the fest. And I mean, it gives you, again, a tool to target your resources. And then the Visitors by Origin gives you zip codes and a map breakout. So all this is geared towards quantifying what we're doing, helping us with our economic development efforts. And I would see me at least, well, either monthly or quarterly, giving you regular reports that we can generate so you can see some of this progress and track if we do certain efforts, is it having a manageable effect or measurable effect or not. So I don't know if I've done a good enough job explaining, but does that make sense? Or and people on the committee maybe want to comment. You saw a demonstration too.
I would like to see a monthly report on it, to see how it goes,
Yeah.
and, you know, for the year, to see if we're getting any benefits of it
I mean,
as we go with it.
And when I said, and I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing, like I'm saying like monthly reports of like people visiting the village or visiting specific locations or, I mean, I can give you a report what we're using it for too, but I mean.
Well, a little bit on using it and what direction we're going with it.
Well, I guess that's my question. We talked about hiring Aaron Farmer a year or two ago, and that's something that he does, and then he also goes out and reaches out to different businesses to try and get them to come here. So now that we would have this information, is that something that you are gonna do?
I mean, I'm familiar with Aaron Farmer, and his was more expensive.
No, I know the
And-
cost
and-
is completely
right,
different.
right.
But
And-
getting the demographics and getting everything, like, we'll
Right.
have that information, but what are we actually gonna use it for?
I mean, we would use it for myself, the mayor,
But-
if to go and talk to businesses. And, I mean, now, many private sector businesses, like the Change or people like that, they have some of this information already. They're bringing it to the table. They're not necessarily sharing it with us. This gives us information to go to a table, to pitch people. I mean, there's a conference, the ICSC, which is like the
Right.
retail. I mean, I've been to that before, and people are using this type of data at those shows.
But are you guys planning on going to that?
I mean,
and reaching out to different businesses?
Yes.
With
Yes.
this information?
I mean, we're talking to businesses now that are prospective, I mean, the developers at the different properties here. We would use this to pitch them, and I think it shows a more serious approach, if you will, saying like, here we have this data, we know, because they can do it themselves, but they aren't necessarily doing it themselves. I mean, we have to pitch them. They're not, at the point where Peatone's at now, probably, we've got lucky, some people have come here, some we've recruited, but it's not like we're getting all day long, people are knocking on our door, we're gonna have to go find them.
So that's what you'll use the information and you guys will go and
That's the
find
hope.
them.
Absolutely, yeah.
But right now, we have intuition and what we think is the case. This is actually quantifying it, and with data that generally, I would say most people say is respected information, it's quantifiable. I mean, it's not 100%, it's a base number and then they project out, but what I've seen of it, it's pretty powerful, and it's a lot for what you're paying for. So.
Right.
It's like
I just-
something like, I'd like to see a bakery in town, and we can pick a bakery in a surrounding town, find how many residents from here are going to that bakery. See how many we can pull in from that, we can keep our own business in our own town. There's so many uses in this, with this program that,
No, I mean,
Incredible
I like
for us
the
to try.
program and I like what it does. I just wanted to know what
Mhm.
we're gonna actually do with it.
Well, that's one of the reasons why we just went for the 1 year when
Right.
we talked about it in committee. I mean, because this is something that we've talked about in the past. and
Right.
In this, I mean, it looks like, and you gotta use it, you gotta
Right.
get in there and use it, but it looks like it'll make us much more educated on what's going on, so that we can talk to a business and say, hey, we know that we've got, this response, so, it'll help, But-
they'll know we're more serious too, because we have the software to do this, to give them the information, and they'll realize that we're not just some corn town that doesn't know what they're doing. actively trying to bring in business.
So would you be able to do a monthly report
I mean,
for us on, like, potentially what you've done with it every month?
I could.
Just so
Yeah,
you,
I mean,
just so we know you are actually continually
well,
using it.
like I said at the committee, and maybe this isn't the best comparison, but it's like you have subscriptions to like a cable service where if you never watch it, why are you paying the fee? So the plan is to use this, to use it extensively and really learn it. And if you all, I mean, it's not, you don't have to do this, but if you want access, we can give you access so you can play around with it, you know, explore the tools. But it's my job to do this along with the mayor, and so we're going to be using it. So I don't know what the form of the report could be, but I would absolutely give you a report, and I would like to
Or
generate.
even just what you did that month
Right.
with it, and
Right.
who you've contacted, or how many people
Right.
you've talked to, or
Right.
just along those lines,
Yeah.
to see if it's
Yeah,
working, if it's
right.
doing anything.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I mean, there's a lot, we saw just a sliver of it's capable of at the committee meeting. I mean, there's a lot of things, it's just you gotta put the time in and learn it, but there's a lot of like data connections and stuff like that. But I think in our staff, I think you know, folks who work on grants here, hopefully can find some usefulness in not every grant, but some of the grants, it'll be helpful for us, so. But yeah, I definitely would I'd like to give reports on what I'm doing, but also some regular data presentations of what it's useful, like what are we finding and what, but I think the other question tied to this, and this kind of goes to what Trustee Bowden was talking about, is like having a more wholesome discussion about where the village is going and where we want to go and what people are looking for. I mean, I would like all of you to tell us and really have a discussion among the board and the mayor, but I also think we should engage the public and say some things they're gonna say like, and hopefully I don't offend anybody, like, I want a Trader Joe's. Well, you're probably not gonna get a Trader Joe's because they have like very specific, like, X number of advanced degrees.
Yeah, I've looked into several
Right.
businesses and looked into exactly what they're looking for.
Right, but I mean, if the ones that are maybe well within our range or maybe a little bit of a stretch, then we make the case and we develop. But I mean, the thing about Peatone that is probably a positive for a lot of other communities is we have a highway, 57, we have Peatone Wilmington, which is gonna, for better or worse, has got a lot of traffic on it. We have Route 50. So those are all drivers. So we may only have 4,000 people here now, or growing, but we have 30,000 people going by in 57. Sometimes I feel like it's 60 coming to work some days, but it's like, but that's gonna make us more attractive. But I think sometimes in the past, we didn't always send the message we wanted, and some people may say we still don't want it. But I think that economic development drives revenue, which allows us to keep taxes lower and provide for our police, provide for our public works, provide for our village needs. And so this is kind of like economic development is a must. It's just, but getting the right fit for the community, and that's where we kind of need some more input. So that, I'm not saying I can do the work with the tool, but I think we need some more input on what that looks like, and that will help drive the searches and the pitches, and we will obviously have regular dialogue with you all as the board, but yes, we can do lots of reports.
Do you have the
Right.
time?
I mean, we have to make time, so.
Well,
So,
but
I mean, this economic development is
it's a big job.
very important, and, I mean, yes, we don't have a big staff, and that's why on other fronts, we're trying to use technology to manage the workload, like the finance system or ERP is very, I know it's a separate topic, but it's like, that goes with, if we have more efficient systems, it will free up some time to do some of this work. But it's almost like, I don't think we have a choice. It's like, if we don't keep growing in some level, that doesn't mean putting up
Right,
undesirable
so you
business.
just have to make sure
You make time.
you make
Yeah,
the
manage
time.
time. And do
It's
it.
also a good reason why we have it available to all of you, so that it doesn't fall just on us, everybody can jump in and really dig in to come up with an idea. Hey, what about this? We try that, search it out. Maybe you find something, a little diamond in the rough. I mean, we all need to be on board.
I mean, I don't like saying like, oh, just because the neighbors are doing it, we should do it, but a lot of our neighbors or our friendly competitors already use these tools and are using them effectively to recruit people, so we're kind of like fighting with one arm behind our back on some of this stuff. I mean, a lot of communities use this, some more than others, some have it but don't use it a lot, some are using it probably every day, you know, to do something, so.
Any other questions?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bowden, second by Sluse.
Trustee Bowden?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Richards?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sluse?
Yes.
Moving on to questions from the press.
None.
Any correspondence or communications, petitions, anybody?
I think we should mention the I-57 corridor meeting. I think that's tomorrow, right?
Yep.
And that's gonna be at Will
Atrium.
County Atrium, Fairgrounds Atrium,
3 to 6 p.m.
3 to 6, so, yeah. Anybody watching this, you know, if you could come out, take a look at what's going on. You know, it's your opportunity to have some input. Whether they listen to you or not, I don't know, but it can't hurt to be there.
Can you give a little summary of what that is?
So the I-57 Access Study is what it's called, and there's also a community advisory group, or a CAG. The mayor and I have been participating in that. They've had 2 meetings. I went to both, but the mayor just the second one since he's been sworn in. It's a study from just north of Manhattan-Monee Road to just south of Peatone-Wilmington Road as far as the highway's concerned. It's also looking at land uses, I believe, from around Route 50 to around LaGrange Road or 45, looking at land use. I mean, I don't want to be funny about this, but I mean, they say it's just to do the study, which I would argue 57, and when I was at the county, we said for a long time, 57 needed work over here, safety on all the interchanges that are existing, let alone new ones. But this is looking at a potential new interchange around Offner Road. There's a map with the concept of it, and then it would, kind of a smaller interchange at 50, so people using that could get onto 50 or get onto 57. This is largely, I would argue, tied to potential airport, but it doesn't, well, that interchange is more tied to the airport. Improvements to 57, like I said, we could probably all hopefully agree here that the interchanges in Manhattan-Monee and Peatone-Wilmington need to be fixed better than they are right now. And so that could be some people's pitch to the study and public comments is like, we want you to fix the existing interchanges because that'll help all the residents, all the existing businesses. What happens in the future still needs more infrastructure, but we have people here now that, you know, it's dangerous at times on those interchanges.
Yeah.
But this is a study, I forget the exact timing, but I think it's not scheduled to wrap up till 27 maybe ultimately with all the stuff. So it's a long process, but you gotta participate. Residents have to comment. If you can't make it to the meeting, on the village's website and social media, we have links to their page. You can still comment and submit comments, but if people don't comment, they figure sometimes people don't care. If there's lots of comments, they'll pay more attention, and that's all these studies. As much as people say, it doesn't matter, it does matter, because they do, when there's big responses, they pay attention.
Right.
So I would encourage everybody, if you can't make it there just because of the time, submit a comment, and there'll be more meetings that we'll continue to promote, and they're publishing a newsletter. When we get the next newsletter, we'll make it available here at Village Hall.
And we have no jurisdiction over there. They're gonna do whatever they want, with or without us. So it behooves us to get involved
Exactly.
in this thing.
And the other thing, just to make a kind of connection, is you have the 57 study, which is ongoing, but Will County jurisdiction is Wilmington Peatone Road, which is from 53 over near Wilmington and Elwood, all the way over here to east side of Peatone. They're also doing they call it a Pell study, which is a different kind of study. That's ongoing too, and that's another one, when they have opportunities to comment, we should be commenting, because they're gonna decide at some point, they're not gonna build it all at once, they're gonna build sections. And I've heard some people say, well, they're gonna start over on the west side and improve there. Well, we don't want them to wait 20, 30 years to work over here. We want them to, on the Peatone-Wilmington or Wilmington-Peatone Road, we want them to improve the lead-ups to the interchange at the same time, because otherwise they'll wait and they'll say, well, we'll wait till you have development, or we'll wait till we get around to it, and it'll be another 20 years or something. We want them to.
And, you know, there's a lot of questions of why don't we have a stoplight at I-57 interchange? Because we aren't in charge, the state is.
Right.
Why
The state
don't we
and the
have,
county.
why don't we have the stoplight at the travel center? Because we're not in charge, WillDOT's got that one. I mean, but the only way that we'll get that is if we get involved in these situations, and residents get involved and call their state senators and go to these meetings and raise hell. You know, there's a stoplight in Moni, and yes, there's a stoplight in Mantino, and there's no stoplight in Peatone, but there's nothing this board can do until there's a need. And the way we'll get the need is by getting involved in these things. And it'll be a long, painful process.
Very good points. Anything else?
The Route 50, what we talked about on County Line Road. Anyone want to elaborate on? We talked about it at the last board meeting, but I've got some ideas.
I sent out 8 letters
Okay.
to Will County officials, Key County officials, state police, Jackie Haas, and Patrick Joyce.
Mm-hmm.
Each different department in each county expressing the importance of getting this taken care of. And from what I understand from the fire department, the Patrick Joyce's office has already contacted them saying they need to get a meeting together with all parties as soon as possible. So I think we're making headway on that. I think we all need to keep pushing, and everybody needs to get on board, start writing letters to anybody they can. And all the, I mean, we can get you the addresses, if not, it's a simple lookup online, it's nothing difficult.
Okay.
I've already done it, sent letters to, and if, Patrick Joyce's office, if that's somebody that you can stay in contact with to find out, you know, that actually happened, or if, cause I don't know that we'll be invited, but,
I think that what we understood, we were over at the fair the other day, that the fire department, or hopefully the police departments from the surrounding jurisdictions and the municipalities, I believe we're all gonna be invited, but I was trying to set up a meeting with our police, our fire district, kind of like a pre-meeting to get our data collected, because the fire, I know both chief has been working on, and the fire department's been collecting the data on the number of accidents, the kind of severity of the accidents. Unfortunately, that's sometimes what it takes, which just seems so wrong that you have to have people severely injured or killed before there's action, but there's been plenty of that, and it's, so I think we will be included, but if we're gonna push, and I think we talked with the fire protection district about kind of teaming up and making the case, because not only is that an issue, but we were talking about another issue with healthcare in this part of the region, that there's a lack of, and it's kind of shrinking, the trauma care in the area because of a lot of medical insurance issues. And so we actually had a congresswoman there who they were talking to about this at the fair, who just happened to be visiting. And so we're working on that too, because they all kind of go together. If you have a traumatic accident and you have a long trip, I mean, they said they're having to fly more helicopters in to fly people out because of these traumatic injuries. It's just, so.
Thank you.
But we'll keep the board in the loop as we move forward, but I think this is like, there's a lot of people advocating for this, and it's what it's gonna take to get something done, I think, so.
Anything else? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Motion Richards, second Sluse. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.